Right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Chats with Jack and Matt. We are delighted to have Aaron Lansbury with us today. Aaron is one of the leading junior golf coaches in the UK and runs his academy, Ignite Golf. Is it Stonebridge Golf Club? Did you say? Sorry,
Stonebridge Golf Club, yeah.
in Coventry. So a little bit far away from Essex, but all good. So Aaron, yeah, how did you? So you're predominantly junior coaching, I presume. How did you get
Yeah.
into it, and how's it grown for you over the years?
Yeah, I think I started junior coaching 2011, the end of 2011. And I kind of just fell into it really. It wasn't like it was part of the plan at the time. It was had a little, started a little group of junior golf, a little junior golf sort of Saturday morning kind of idea. Kicked that off and then it slowly but surely grew. And then maybe 3 or 4 years into my whole Saturday being taken up with juniors, I started reaching out and going into different schools and doing midweek coaching after school and holiday clubs and competitions out in the course, playing lessons, the whole lot. Then got involved with the county, and it just kind of spiraled out of control in a positive way. So in the last, I don't know, 8 years perhaps, we've just purely focused on working with children and coaching children at the club. So yeah, so far so good.
Matt, have you got a question you want to go for?
No, it sounds fantastic. I mean, how did you so when you sort of fell into it, was there an influence on that? Was there a lead coach or a head pro that you sort of helped guide you in that way, or was it something that you always had a passion to want to do?
It was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to work with juniors as a I always knew I wanted to work with children. I wanted to work with junior golfers. As a junior, there wasn't really much of a junior program at the club I was at. There was just, a bunch of lads who was, my mates today. And we just used to go up the club and play golf. I went to Birmingham University once I was old enough and finished A levels. I studied applied golf management studies, so like the full-time PGA degree. So I was there at the Belfry for 3 years full-time. Moved away from Sussex, my homeland, came up to sort of Birmingham way. Did a lot of work with England Golf, a lot of volunteering with them and the Warwickshire, which is the county I'm involved with, Warwickshire Golf Union. Did a lot of work with them. And then they basically found me a job, to be honest. There was a little pokey driving range out the back of Solihull, which is where I live, which is no longer there, unfortunately. But a little pokey range, it had just been sort of redone up, and they were after a golf coach to go in and deliver golf coaching to people. And I was like, hello. So just cracked on with that. Didn't really know what I was doing. And then it just sort of snowballed from there, really. So yeah, there was no particular one pro that kind of inspired me to do some junior golf. More just the right people at England Golf and Warwickshire and managers of golf clubs that I guess supported me along the way and pushed me in the right direction.
So would you say then it's all the stuff you've done has been very much learning on the job, much like what we've been doing? You haven't had much guidance with
Yeah.
it, but you just learn as you go, you build it as you go, and it's important to say for other coaches that you don't have to have massive structure at the start. You've obviously got a structure in place now, but you build that as you go, really.
Yeah, there wasn't anything. I know they have there's different initiatives out there by different governing bodies that suggest you do things. I always wanted to be unique and do my own thing. So yeah, we've gone through all sorts of different changes and different ideas of programs and stuff. So we've had the skills books and things like that in the past. We've had almost like little skills tests, monthly skills tests, things like that. So yeah, it's ever evolving, and it's just figuring it out as I go along. What's proving successful? What do I really want from it? Selfishly, what is it that I want from it? What do the children want as well? What do the parents want? And trying to blend it all together. But it's a lot of research. There's a lot of reading about and seeing what other people are doing, not only in golf, because I think we can be honest. There's not that many junior golf coaches out there in the UK, comparative to say football, where there's 10 within a mile radius, probably. So many. So there's so many other people you can learn from that aren't involved in golf. So trying to learn from them as well.
Absolutely, it's trying to get that exposure for golf as well, isn't it? As you mentioned, I think you look at football. Is a huge one. You don't have to really sell it, do you? Kids just typically want to, they see it in
Yeah.
front of them. Everyone wants to play it, so it's trying to get that that exposure to golf, isn't it? And that comes from getting in the schools and doing all of that. I mean, how many schools are you in at the moment?
So I work with Solihull School Sports Partnership, and they do like a golf program every year. So that's what I tend to do, which is normally about a 4 month program over the year, each year, where I visit about 12 schools. So it's not a huge, a stupidly big project. I like doing the schools every now and then. I like kind of having going in there every so often. It's not my 100% focus of what I really really want to do. But we do it for a bit of fun and to try to keep a bit of engagement there.
Do you promote? So you go into a school. Do you have a lot of stuff to try and sort of incentivize the kids that have done a bit of schools to come along to your coaching or go and see other coaches? Are you very proactive in doing that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the schools project in our area works that all the schools will receive 3 sessions from a local pro. So there's about 4 pros in the area that go in. I think I do the bulk, but there's other pros that do, say, 6 schools in the area because it's quite a large area catchment. They all go in and then they go and do a festival, just to feel like a golf. I think it's at a rugby club this year where they're setting up a tri golf festival and doing a festival. And then obviously we get the opportunity to go in and try to sell golf outside of school, back to the golf club, and try and do the best that we can that way.
And is that so when you go into the schools, is it before school, after school, during school? What does that sort of program look like for you?
Yeah, it's part of their curriculum. So yeah, it's part of the school term time. So I go in throughout the school day. So mornings and afternoons. So it fits quite nicely with my normal work diary, which is after school and weekends. So I can find a bit of time, choose their lunchtime. So for example, I'm in the school this afternoon. After lunch, go in, do a 45-minute hour session, and then back over to the golf club to deliver all my evening work.
Yeah, brilliant.
You sounded, well, from what you were saying, it sounds exactly the kind of things that we're doing. Your diary's very full from sort of 4 o'clock up till whenever you could work through the night really with people, couldn't you, after school?
Yeah.
And weekends are extreme. I bet they're our busiest days of the week, aren't they? Saturdays and Sundays. How do you so if you're a young coach now, it's getting actually used to that in your mindset, isn't it? If you want to work with juniors, you're going to have to work some seriously unsociable hours, aren't you, compared to, say, someone that's got a 9 till 5 Monday to Friday?
Yeah, you can look at it 2 ways, can't you? You can take it to the extreme that perhaps you and I do, where we don't start work till in the winter, at least. I don't start work till 4, and then I'll finish at 9, and I'll do that 4 days a week. So my social life is all through the day. So it's nice that I get, the entire day up until 3 o'clock when I've got to leave, to go off to work. So it's kind of like, I guess it's more like shift patterns, isn't it? But there's no reason why someone couldn't do a Monday and a Friday evening, or a Monday and a Thursday evening, and then a half a day on Saturday. It's not like they've got I don't think they have to totally fill their diary with junior golf and go extreme. Just do a little bit and enjoy it and do the best they can with what they've got.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's just getting in that mindset, isn't it? I think it's building your diary how you want it to look and having that structure around it, isn't it? Is that something that you looked at initially? Did you sort of, when you first got into coaching, you thought, right, these are the days, the times that you'd like to work, and you built it in and around that? How did that sort of look for you?
I think when I very first started, I was brand new. So I was 21. I just qualified and finished my PGA. And it was just like, I just got to try and get something in my diary. So it was just do whatever I can, basically. Whenever you want me for a golf lesson, I will kind of turn up and do it. I only live literally a 3-minute drive from the club, so I could do a half-hour lesson and just go home and wait 3 hours for the next one. So it didn't really matter. Now I live a bit further away from the club I work at, and I'm like, well, I want my diary to be between, in the summer, 1 and 9 max. That's the max that I'm going to do. I'll do that 3 or 4 days a week at tops, and I'll work on a Saturday. And I'll make sure I have lots of time off through the school holidays and things like that. So the vast majority of our work's through the school term times. We do a little bit through the school holidays, but probably 70% of it I take off, to be honest, and go on holiday myself or just chill out. So I guess it's a bit like a teacher kind of vibe, where it's blitz it through the term time and then take it chill in the holidays.
Absolutely. What does a pathway look like for you then? So how did you get to that? So is it, like you mentioned, doing a little bit in the schools. You do some junior classes, regular classes. What does that pathway kind of look like for you?
In terms of how I managed to get my diary to where it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, what does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, so well, a typical day in my diary would be in throughout the winter months when it's a little bit quieter. It'll be get up the club at 4 o'clock, 3:45, something like that. Get ready for my 4:15, 4:10 session, and I'll have 2 or 3 groups most nights of the week, where we'll have about between 8 and 10 kids in each of the groups. So nice little groups, manageable. Coach those groups, and then I'll have another hour or two after that before 9 o'clock when the range closes, and I'll do one-to-one coaching. So I'll look after the children that are really wanting to push on or have a little bit more help, or in county development squads and all sorts of things like that. And then I'll rinse and repeat for the next day. Keep going all through the week. Saturday is a full diary, so 6 hours of coaching different groups. So we've got girls groups, elite groups, all sorts of stuff, and then normally a one-to-one at the end as well, just to totally write me off. And then Sunday I try and chill if I can, but it doesn't often work like that as well with Sundays.
Do you do all of your stuff on your own? Have you got other members of staff that help you? How does your kind of business look from a coaching point of view?
So I work with my wife Kirsty. She looks after all the behind the scenes sort of stuff. So she looks after all the payments for the different things and all the group coaching and the new trial sign-ups and all the kind of the paperwork stuff. So she looks after all of that behind the scenes, and then I just basically get told where to go, who to coach, and then I turn up and go, who are you? Right, okay, you're with me now, then let's go. And then we go that way.
Sounds like a plan. I might have to get my wife on that. Sounds a good idea.
That's great. It's very, very good. Yeah, I don't like the admin. She's very good at that side of it and very organised. And I'm rather just be outside doing the delivery. So we focus on our strengths and works really nicely together. We've done that for maybe five or 6 years now. We've worked together.
No, brilliant. So in terms of it then, so if a junior was to come, how do you then navigate them to, I'm guessing more like a beginner type group, more of a roll up type structure, to then more of an elite group? How does that look for you? So do you have like people that just come along and they pay as they go? Do you fix them into, once they're a bit more elite, do they have a bit more structure in terms of they do it in blocks that run a long term time?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, in essence, we're an after school club, so we're making sure that it's offering the children something to do after school. But what we offer is we do it as a monthly direct debit. We moved to that system probably about four years ago or so. Then we just went, we're not going to do any more payments by block or terms or anything like that. It's just purely direct debit fee. So they pay that every month, 12 months a year. Obviously, some months they get loads of lessons, because September, for example, we might get 5 lessons when they start the first week of September. And then August they'll get diddly squat. So it works out over a year really nicely, which makes it easy. And we do that for all of our group coaching, from the most beginner all the way through to the ones that really want to push on and get good, and even into one-to-one coaching. So my entire payment structure is based on direct debit. I very, very rarely do pay as you go lessons, because for me it's just not reliable. I don't like it. It's hassle, chasing people, texting people, can I have the money, and all this kind of stuff. And are you coming back next week? And no, it's not for me. Not for me.
You can't build a sustainable business off of that model, can you? We're the same. 90% of our stuff is for a direct debit every month. You know where you stand. It's important to say for other coaches out there, it's regular. As you quite rightly said, they might get a bit more certain months, and then we have 3 months of the year where they don't get any coaching, but they're still paying for the kind of, let's split it over the year, like you said. So you get your regular income, whether it's in prime time in July, August time, or you're sitting there December, January. A fixed rate that's coming in. It's easier to manage your expenses and manage your business that way.
Yeah, it's financially it's better for us. It's easier to manage, like you said, and everyone's used to it. Like every parent that has children going to swimming, tennis, football, they nearly all pay a direct debit to everything.
Yeah.
So as soon as you say a direct debit, they go, oh, yeah, same as tennis. You
I
know,
know
it's
that
not like
feeling.
they're
Yeah.
changing the game, unfortunately, on this one.
No, absolutely. And then you know where you are. You know where you are with kids in classes. It's easier to have a spreadsheet and go, right, I've got X, Y, and Z in this group. Once they
Yeah.
leave, you can fill another group much easier, can't you? You know, you just know exactly where you are, what's going on, and how you do it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
we've never really done roll up just purely because I can't imagine having 15 kids or 20 kids all turning up, and I've got a 16-year-old and a 4 or 5-year-old in the same group, and they're like, well, you could make it work. I'm sure we could make it work, but we know really that the experience isn't going to be quite as good as if they're playing with people that are of relative age and standard or similar age and standard.
Well, you want them to feel comfortable as well, right? You know, if you have an older junior and a really young junior, that imbalance does make them feel a little bit out of place at times, doesn't it? And that they're there
Yeah,
to have fun as well, aren't they? Enjoy it, and you know, you can get away with it occasionally. I think, as you say, you can make it work and make it manageable, but you want that experience to be the right experience for each individual junior, don't you, or each individual lesson,
yeah,
you
of
know?
course. Yeah, of course. So we make sure we do that, even if the groups are, sometimes for whatever reason, sometimes a group will you'll have 3 people drop out and the group gets quite small. And for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to fill up. And then you just have this little group. But yeah, you just have to stick with it for a bit. And then, if you've got the right sort of marketing plans and things like that, it kind of comes back eventually. It doesn't take all that long.
No.
Um,
I think we do some of our classes that there is a little bit of a mix in age, but it's more sort of on ability sometimes. So, you know, you might have a junior that's a little bit older that maybe takes it, has other sports and plays football and certain things, and then you have a younger junior that's quite into their golf that ability wise is really good, you know, and it's then matching it up in a way that suits that as well, isn't it? It is trying to get the right blend, you know, so when you're coming to a lesson, it's not I've got someone who's quite far along in a model
yeah.
and someone who's really new, you know, teaching wise, it becomes easier if the group are all of a similar, ability in that way, doesn't it, you know?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, we're working with people, aren't we? And people are all different, and different people want different things. And you can have 2 kids of the same standard, but one is in a totally different place, and they want to, go and play in loads of events and become a really, really good golfer. And the other one just wants to have a laugh and sort of, dick around, so to speak, with his mates. So, sometimes you might not even pair those guys up. You might split them up, or you're working with people, and parents can't always say, "Oh, this group on a Thursday night is perfect for your daughter or whatever." But no, I can't do Thursdays because she does trampolining. So then you have to be flexible, and okay, well, we could do a Friday, and we'll try to get someone in there. You have to be flexible and jiggle things around all the time to make it work and make everybody as happy as they can be.
You touched on marketing a second ago, just briefly. So I think we would all agree that golf coaches, particularly sort of assistants, kind of struggle to market. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how they're going to attract people to their classes, to their clubs. What sort of things do you do to attract new people? I mean, you must be the same. It's a lot of word of mouth when you get going. A lot of it's word of mouth when you start progressing and moving forward with people already doing your classes. But how do you market to a new audience?
To a new audience, I mean, obviously we have the schools, so we go into those and do them, and we might get a handful of kids come back through from the schools coaching. Apart from that, we do a lot of Instagram, a lot of social media, a bit of TikTok. Hard to pinpoint exactly how many people come through that. We're quite high up Google searches. If you search us on Google, we'll be quite near the top, and they'll find us quite easily. And our website is quite nice. I like to think it's quite well manageable. It's easy to see what's on offer, what you're going to get from us. It's not just a sentence on the bottom of the web page of the golf club. It's got its own. We've got our own coaching website essentially. And apart from that, yeah, we're very fortunate that we've got quite a few children that come along to us. So we get a lot of word of mouth, a lot of parents saying, "Oh, so and so said we should come along," so we got in touch. So we do have a lot of that, fortunately. So marketing wise, we don't have a budget or anything. We don't spend any money on marketing. We're quite fortunate that we don't need to do that.
Similar to us, Matt, really, isn't it? We don't spend next to nothing. Well, don't spend anything on marketing, really. Maybe a few flyers, etc. You want to give out to people, but that's about the extent of
Yeah.
where of where it goes. There's no campaign, so to speak, that you're pushing and trying to get
Yeah.
Facebook ads and stuff like that. None of that really.
Yeah, there's no advertisement, maybe I should say, like online digital advertisement. Yeah, we do flyers and we pay for a website. And I think that's probably flyers and a website. I think that's probably our marketing spend, if you like. I think that's all it is.
Yeah, I think it's just being proactive, isn't it, with your time and staying on top of it, isn't it? If you plan ahead and you do all of that, you're ahead of the game, aren't you? Really,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
No, definitely. So what does your coaching look like though? What sort of things do you try and do within your sessions?
Yeah, so I guess we kind of base it around two things. Our sort of goal is to create as many lifelong golfers as possible. So we want to try to get them playing. So a lot of what we try to do is structured around playing actual golf. I believe there's loads and loads of children out there that are over taught and underplayed. So we're forever trying to encourage children to play golf, see golf for what it is, and then we're not scared at the moment to sell golf for what it is, and sell the values of what actual golf is, and not a kind of glossy, made up game or version of golf as sort of I like to describe it. So we like to try and be on the golf course as much as possible, in and out of lessons. So we offer them all sorts of different away days, par 3 events, competitions out in the course, games out in the course, playing lessons, holiday camps where we're actually playing golf. So that underpins everything we do. So when they come to a lesson, the dream lesson is I've got 10 kids there and they're like, right, last Saturday I went out on the course, my chipping was rubbish, I kept fatting it, let's say, and I'm like, right then, there's a session plan. So then we go ahead and we go and talk about different lies and slopes and different clubs you can use to stop fatting it, and all of a sudden this lesson just forms itself and it becomes a really nice, well structured lesson, which works really, really well. So that's a big part of what we do. As like a beginner and introductory thing, I think we like to sell, like I said, the real aspects of golf. So what I value in golf, not necessarily running around and cheering and sweating and panting and that kind of stuff.
No, brilliant. I think it's so important. I think you go back to a junior and you don't fall in love with golf with being on a range, necessarily hitting lots of golf balls, do you? Being over
No,
the top. It's more you do it on the golf course and you think, oh look, I've got a shot under a tree or over a bunker, and they're the sort of
yeah,
things that you do fall in love with, aren't they? And then as you say, rightly come back and how do I do this? How do I do that? When
yeah,
you go on the golf course though, how do you plan that for 10 juniors, let's say, because that can be a task in itself, can't it? Sometimes, especially if they've got not much golfing on the course experience. It might be their first few times on the golf course. How would you sort of deal with that? Is it a case of you'll go around together? Do you split them into groups? Do you play off the normal tees, shorter tees? What does that kind of look like for you?
yeah. I mean, we just try to make sure that we are on the golf course. So we'll go out there with let's say we've got 8 kids, and then we'll take a load of golf balls and we'll put them whatever a meter off the green, and then we'll try and right, get it in the hole, and they go tap tap tap, chip chip, whatever, get it in the hole. Do that a couple of times, and come back in and say, right, what's the point of golf? We're trying to get it the lowest score as possible. Okay, right, we'll golf and go and see if you can count your score. Go and see if you can actually do that. Go and see if you can see how many shots it takes to get in the hole. So they go off and try to get it in the hole and get it in 6 from 20 yards away. And then you call them back in again. You say, right, how do we do 6, 7, 8, however many shots it takes? It's like, right, what can we do to try and get it to 5? How can you make yourself a little bit better? And then, you might move them further away. You might walk to a bunker and just give them a rake and they'll just rake the bunker. Or they'll go and teach them how to repair a divot. They can, there's loads of different things you can do out there. Playing, yes, like you said, if you've got a brand new group of kids and you've got 8 of them and you're by yourself, trying to get them to play 8-ball Texas scramble or something is just ridiculous and unpractical and not really going to work. Which is when we offer different on-course activity for them to go and do that in smaller groups or with parents helping or whatever.
No, brilliant.
How important would you say that? Just again mention parents there. Are you quite keen to get parents as active as possible? I know some coaches don't want parents anywhere near. kids stuff, we're very much open to it. We want parents to be involved as much as possible. They're part of their child's kind of golfing development and journey. Do you have a lot of parents that do help, that take kids round for you, etc., or take their kids round for you and help out with sessions as well? Or
Yeah, of course. I mean, we don't really have, well, we don't really have any problems with parents at all, really. We kind of set the expectation of what's going to happen in the group. So when they first come, it's like, well, this is what it's going to look like. This is how it's going to be, and this is our focus. If the parents don't like the sound of that, then they'll go elsewhere, and that's absolutely fine with us. We're not scared We're not scared of parents doing that. We're not going to try to please everybody, so to speak. Understand, I can't do that. The vast majority of our parents will want their children to be outside. They want their children to be playing golf, and they want them to have an independent experience by themselves. So the vast majority will drop off, and then they will go and sit in the clubhouse or whatever, go to the pub and have a drink. That's what they want to do, and that's what they'll choose to do. Those that want to stick around, they are more than welcome to stick around, and we do get a handful of parents that stick around and watch the session, just see what they're up to. And we have one group in particular where nearly all the parents will stay around and watch, which is brilliant. And then nearly every time I'm like, right, go and grab dad. We're going to teach them how to chip or something like that, or whatever it might be, and we'll get them involved and get them playing. That's really lovely to see. They are their parents, so it's not like we're their number one part of their golf. We're really not the number one part of their golf. It's their parents that pay for it. It's their parents that bring them. It's their parents that are going to fund it for the next 10 years or whatever. So trying to ignore them and telling them to sod off is a bit of a dim move, really.
agreed.
Absolutely. What would be your what's your relationship like with the golf course itself, though? So, using the facilities, using the golf course, do you have a pretty good setup where you can go and use it at any time? How does that work?
Yeah, it's tricky. We're working at a place that's really busy at the moment. So the golf course is busy, so we can't jump out there. If it's a really nice, warm, sunny day, getting out on the golf course is tough, just because it's so busy, which is fine. So we have to be smart and play the game a little bit. And when it's not quite perfect, whether it's a bit dreary, it's looking a bit grey, and the golf course is clearly a bit quieter, that's when it's like, right, kids, get your clubs. We're heading on out there. Which so you can't necessarily plan it. Sometimes you just have to jump on out there. But no, they've always been happy with us, thankfully, going out and playing.
Ah, good.
It's tough though, isn't it? You have to have that relationship with a club, don't you? And obviously you've been at your club for a number of years. It is difficult. I think for other kind of junior coaches, they're going to have hurdles that they've got to get through. But I think if you build a good enough model and you can show someone what you're trying to do with junior golf, a golf club's more likely to kind of facilitate you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I've never worked at a members club, so I can't really tell you anything about that because I've never done it. I've only ever worked at more kind of corporate places where it's more money driven and profit and loss kind of stuff. But yeah, as long as I think you're respectful, I think they're typically okay with it and don't get in the way too much, as they like to say.
You're building members for them, aren't you, as well? At the end of the day, you're
building
people that are going to play the golf course.
Out of it, and yeah, they get a nice little income in terms of food and drink and all that kind of stuff off the back of parents being there. So they do all right from us.
Matt, have you got any kind of final questions? I'm just conscious of the time.
It's been really good. I think good insight into your golf academy, how you do it, the structure to it, and that pathway. And no, it's been really good to chat and to hear about that, your story and what you do.
Cool, thanks.
So I know you briefly mentioned to us off camera. You've got a few bits coming up, but what's the next kind of month, 6 weeks looking like for you? Obviously, we've just come back from Easter holidays. What are you doing now in the build up to the summer holidays, really?
Yeah, so we've got monthly out on course activities where we're going out and playing. So we've got one this Sunday and then one each month where we just go off to a different venue in the local area, go and play the par 3 course. So we've got those coming up. Obviously, we've got all of our coaching, weekly coaching, so that continues going. Hopefully making the most of a nice summer. It's been a bit cold recently, but we'll hopefully have some nice weather soon. And apart from that, we'll have a few holiday clubs and a few camps and a few different player lessons, and trying to get them all out playing as much as they can.
That sounds good. Well, we'll kind of wrap it up there. Thank you very much for your time. And yeah, we look forward to seeing what you're going to be doing on your socials. We'll obviously follow you heavily on social media. So hopefully we can kind of chat again one day, and then kind of try and grow junior golf to the places we know it can reach.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.